Ta-da!
All right, so we'll start over.
It timed out. It literally timed out.
Okay, so I hope you guys are having a great night. It's another edition of Flight Club. Our mics time out if we don't use them for a period of time, so they've been sitting here for a while. This is what do you call that? Power saving mode.
I don't know what it is.
What'd you hit?
It's made in China.
So yeah, I hope you guys are having a great week so far. We're here along with Legend Hobby tonight, and as you guys saw earlier, we've got a awesome special guest here tonight. Mr. Jason Hill is going to be joining us, talking about his B-52 and his Vulcan. We're excited to hear all about it. Can't wait. We've got some great pictures for you guys as well. So without further ado, since we had the mics not working, we're going to pull Jason in, and you guys can give him a great welcome. So here he is. And how are you, man? Can you hear us?
Doing all right. Nice to be here.
Awesome, man. Glad to have you. No, we're waiting just here too.
I'll be right back.
You guys got real quiet. I can't hear you again.
Right now.
There you are.
Okay. All right. I'm going to leave this in here, man. So, yeah, in case you hadn't seen it in the past couple of weeks, we have been looking at your plane at Balmer Field. Wayne saw it in person, and it's definitely a flying spectacle, man. It's beautiful. And everybody here enjoyed watching it. So tell us a little bit about it, man.
Well, it's 174-inch wingspan. It's weighs 87 pounds last time I weighed it.
Wow.
It's 8 EDFs, the E-Flight 80 millimeter fans.
Yeah.
It flies great. It's easy to fly, very much easier than you would think from looking at it.
Well, we talked about on here that the wings on it are so big, it looks like it would fly almost like a big glider, man, because it's just got such good wing size to it, you know?
It actually does. It glides very well. And it'll slow down more than you would expect on landing too, which is pretty nice.
And so how many packs are you running in this thing?
A lot.
Yeah, he's right. Total, there's 11 batteries on board.
Wow. And are they 6S?
There's one 6S 5,000 per motor.
Wow.
And then two 4,000 milliamp 2S packs for the receiver. Wow. And then a third, and those are life packs. And the last battery is for the brakes and the retracts. It's a life battery also.
And so, and you built this, didn't you?
Correct.
Now, isn't this your fourth one?
It's at least the third. It might be the fourth if you count the very first tiny one I built.
So you didn't start at this size. You started smaller and then worked your way up?
Absolutely, that's correct. Yeah. Other than this one, the last favorite that I had was an 86-inch wingspan that was also ducted fan. So it had 55 millimeter ducted fans.
So you blew it up about 75%?
Yeah, quite a bit. The purpose of that was actually the main reason I built it was to drop candy, honestly, which is kind of ironic. So the 86-inch one would carry about 1 pound of candy off of a paved surface. It had retractable landing gear as well. Off of a paved surface, I could carry 1 pound of candy comfortably. I went to a flying event where they had invited the whole town out to this field, and there just wasn't enough candy with 1 pound of candy. So not all the kids got some, and I had to set the bag out so they could get it. And it's just not the same when the kids got to come over to the table and get candy out of a bag as opposed to watching it fall out of the airplane and get
it. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. We just did that, and all the kids watched it all fall from the airplanes, and they're all excited. I go, man, you could have just grabbed the candy from right here, but no, you're going to get the candy that fell out of the airplane.
They like it.
Yeah. So how long did it take you to build this?
On and off about over 9 years, closer to 10.
9
But
years.
I didn't work
Are you
on
going
it.
to start on yours?
Yeah, no.
That's a lot. That's commitment.
Yeah.
I didn't work on it straight through the whole time. There was times I'd put it up for a couple of months because I just got tired of looking at it, and I'd work on something else. I built several other airplanes during that time.
Yeah, because your sanity goes away, right? While you're working on one project.
Absolutely. And in the early stages, you're not making much progress, not visual progress anyway.
No. That's
So
where all the foundation is laid.
Yeah.
So what are
the
the
last
components?
2 years? The last 2 years were pretty easy because it started to look like an airplane.
Yeah. Then you get excited about 3/4 of the way, and you go, let's go. I'm going to work late. Oh, no. I got work to do on my plane. It's crazy. It's really weird. It is. It's like a psychotic thing you go through.
So what are the components it's made of?
The airframe is all foam, sheeted with balsa fiberglass. It's got carbon fiber and plywood reinforcement throughout. But the bulk of the airframe was foam and then sheeted with balsa, like I said.
Gosh.
What was your biggest hurdle that you had when you were building it that you had to overcome that you were afraid of wasn't going to be right? Wing spar?
Pretty early on, I nailed that down where I was sure it was going to be, if anything, too strong, or I shouldn't say too strong, but overbuilt.
Yep.
So the wing spar I wasn't too worried about. I guess the outboard wing would be more of a concern to me because the carbon fiber rods don't go all the way to the outboard wing.
Oh.
So they go probably 5/8 of the way toward the wingtip, the carbon fiber spars, and beyond that, it's just sheeting and fiberglass. That's the strength.
Wow.
So I was kind of worried about
flutter. You're worried about flutter out there on the wingtip on the last ones.
Not really flutter. I was just worried about whether or not they were strong enough. Period.
But they are, right? I mean, you've never had any problem.
No, not at all.
How old is it right now? Since the beginning of the day you started to where we are now, how old is that plane?
Since it started flying?
No, well, since you started building it, that's when
goodness.
it was born, right? So what's the time span to now?
That's a good question. I'd say now it's probably 11 years, maybe just a hair over 11 years old.
Did you ever think it would take 11 years to get to this point?
No. When I started it, I was not expecting it to take this long.
Or was it like 8 months? Did you that when you were in your mind?
I was fully expecting a little over a year.
A year.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you got 10% right.
Right. there's tons of examples of that on this airplane, man. For instance, with the weight, I calculated the weight before I ever flew it. And I calculated the weight and the power, and it came out that it should fly something like a park flyer based on the weight.
Do you know what the thrust to weight ratio is with your fans all revved up?
I haven't figured it out.
But it works great, even though you haven't figured it out.
They're about 5 pounds of thrust each. There's 8 of them. And the plane weighs, like I said, around 90 pounds.
Wow. Gosh.
That's a bag of
so,
cement
I mean,
right
what's your flight time?
6 minutes.
Wow.
That's a long time.
That is, yeah.
I wish it was a little bit longer, but I'm okay with it. I'm all right.
We could probably extend that with some of the.
Well, if he'd let me fly it, I can go to 6, 7, 8.
No, I'm saying if we got some of Mike's packs that he makes.
Oh, Mike's packs, yeah, with the Mala cells. Yeah, we'll get on that later.
Yeah.
Okay.
We might could extend that to 12 minutes for you.
Ooh.
I've had a lot of people tell me I need to change the fans and go with a more modern, like a 12-blade fan.
Yeah. Are they plastic? The impellers? Are they still the plastic?
Yeah. The whole fan on this on these are plastic, but they're, like I said, when I started designing this 11 years ago now, the fans I have now are the best ones I could get.
I get it. And what KV are they running at?
Oh, that's a good question. It's the stock motor that E-flite recommended for the 80 millimeter fan. I can't tell you the KV off the top of my head.
And that was all the ducted fans that they used it for all the ducted fan jets at the time for the E-flights?
Correct. Yep.
So that would be the one. If you go back in time 10 years, you would know all the statistics of what it was.
Yeah.
Wow. 10 years. I can't even imagine.
Gosh.
10 years working on the same project. That's like a marriage. That's a second marriage while you're married.
Yeah.
It's a lot.
Wow.
It is.
What inspired you to go ahead and do a B-52?
I've always liked, well, I shouldn't say that. I shouldn't say I've always liked a B-52. I worked on B-52s for six years active duty in the Air Force, and I did another 5, a little over 5,
really?
as a civilian.
What was your official title when you're working on it?
I was a 2A531F, which is a crew chief.
crew chief. So you're the one that had to sign the last thing before it ever took off, and you're responsible for everybody. I hate being responsible for everybody. I always had morons that I was responsible for. Everything would go wrong, and I get blamed. I could never do that.
Yeah. Got blamed
I
somebody.
didn't mind. You work on the plane.
frozen?
All I can do is give them a good airplane. That's all I can do. The rest is up to them.
Yeah.
You can do what you can do. So everything when you worked on it, you ever have any mishaps on the real one?
Man, I did a bunch of silly stuff in maintenance.
We don't want to go in too far because what do you got to wait 30 years after you sign that piece of paper? You can't talk about whatever it was when it was.
When you put a bunch of 18 and 19-year-olds working on an airplane, it's bound to happen.
Yeah.
I will say, if anybody remembers the last B-52 that crashed in Guam, it was off the coast of Guam. It's been several years ago now. I worked on that airplane about a month and a half before it crashed. My whole shop did. We had an issue on that airplane we'd worked on, and it was several tense weeks and months after that. We had to go through an investigation and all that good stuff. But
did they find out what the cause was? You were not involved with the cause, were you?
No, they couldn't say maintenance at any point was responsible for the aircraft crash. And all they said that there was a couple settings, specifically stab trim was set incorrectly for the mode of flight the aircraft was in, but they didn't know if that was a problem with the aircraft or if the crew had set it there. It was perfectly possible that the crew had set it in the wrong position, and they didn't know one way or the other.
Do you know on investigations, they automatically go to the A&P people first on the airframe and everything, and then they go and blame the pilot. And then after that, it's an act of God if they can't figure it out?
I've been in the aviation industry quite a while. I'm aware.
Got you. I was just curious if that's how it went, because they always go straight to the dude, or they go straight to a mechanical part or electronic part or whatever. And if they can't figure it out, they go, well, we cannot tell or deny or whatever they say.
Essentially, unless there's video of the pilot doing something crazy at the time of the crash, they check out maintenance first.
So you guys are the target right off the bat.
Yeah. Somebody didn't screw that on tight enough.
Oh, I've heard that a lot.
So did the working on the real one help you in any way building the one you built?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, it did. There's a lot, just details really.
Right.
For instance, just knowing how the landing gear works on the full scale.
Oh man, it's twisted and that yaw.
Yeah,
it's unusual. Yeah, it's all small stuff, and there's some things that were different though. For instance, I modeled the B model, which is what NASA used for the X-15 program. That's what my model is. Well, I worked on the H models, so there's differences between the two. So I have, for instance, one big one is the main entry door on the bottom of the fuselage is actually 180 degrees out between the two models.
Really?
Yeah. My main entry door is where my on-off switch is for the radio, for the receiver. So I've got the soft switch mounted inside of the main entry hatch. But
so how long have you been modeling?
I started flying in 2001. My first plane was a kit. My second one I built myself.
Wow.
So did someone help you learn how to fly, or did you teach yourself how to fly?
No, I did it the hard way. I taught myself.
Guilt is charged.
Did you learn CG right off the bat, or be like you and take how many?
So do you fly mode 2 or mode 4 or mode 3 or mode 1?
Oh, I am. Was it mode 2?
Yeah, you're standard guy.
Yeah.
I'm a little out there. I'm not the European.
Okay.
I'm mode 4.
We call it goofy.
Yeah, they call me goofy, but
yeah.
The best part about it is nobody asked me to help them learn anything because I fly mode 4.
I
can fly mode 2. That's not a problem.
He says he can.
I just keep it down the down low.
No, wait, I forget. Mode 4 is the aileron and yaw.
Aileron and rudder are switched.
Okay.
So I actually have the left and the rudder's on the right, where you guys fly the opposite rudder on the left and the aileron on the right. So everybody goes, how do you do it? Well, just turn them both at the same time. What difference does it make?
I actually have flown
fly both of them. But anyway, they all freak out. Oh, what's wrong with you? Everything. I just agree with them, and that way the conversation just goes elsewhere and it just fades out.
Yeah.
How do you do it? Then they come over. They literally, when I got, matter of fact, it just happened this last Sunday. What's that green one? The UMX, the little fast speedster.
Yeah,
from Hobby King?
that's Hobby King.
Yeah. So the kids were there. Kids, they're almost 20. They were going, you fly Mode 4? And I had my airplane there and I had my transmitter there. I said, yeah. I said, here. And he did the left stick, and it's supposed to be rudder, right? So he did the left stick and he did it left and right, and he watched the ailerons go up and down. And he goes, how in the world do you fly? I go, it's a stick. What difference does it make if it's this way? I like that way. You like your way. Fly it how you want. I'll fly how I want.
Yeah.
As long as it works, I like it.
Yeah.
Absolutely. In the end, it doesn't matter. As long as you're happy with it.
How many airplanes did you crash before you actually brought one home when you were learning to fly?
Only one, but that's because I glued that one back together. I don't know how many times.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Well, you beat me by 39 airplanes.
Yeah.
I think I literally squished 40 of them teaching myself to learn how to fly. I was as dumb as a turd.
But you didn't.
I mean,
now you didn't know what CG was.
I didn't know what anything was. I just knew I liked it.
Yeah.
Right.
Because I went from I really got started because a guy had a hobby shop in town, and he went out of business, and he had the dirt track in the back for the cars, they do the thing and sell car parts and have the whole thing. He had to get rid of all the dirt that he brought in because he's going out of business. So he hired me. Somehow I got in there, and they were hiring me to scoop up the dirt and put it in the dump truck and haul it away. I was young. I think I was 18, 16, 17, somewhere around there. So anyway, he didn't have enough money to finish paying me to do the job. So he had a bunch of associated RC-10s and a couple of other old school da-da-da-da-da. And he goes, oh, I'm sorry, man. I don't have any money to pay for the rest, but I got all these RC cars. I mean, he had a bunch of Futaba radios and RC cars. And I'm like, okay, what an idiot. What a moron taking all that. But, I did learn. I go, well, half of something's better than all of nothing, right?
Yeah.
I learned that the hard way a couple of years into the future about that. But anyway, so I had all the cars, and I'm all doing the car thing. Well, you can only do this, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then I get tired. It gets boring. There's a dimension that's missing.
Exactly. Yes.
Yeah.
Isn't that right?
Yes. I didn't like it either.
I mean, I'm going, this is great and everything, but something's missing. And then I think I went to the hobby shop to get some parts, some other hobby shop. It was Hobby Shack back in the day. You remember Hobby Shack?
Yep.
Okay. I lived out there by the headquarters in Southern California. So anyway, I'm in Hobby Shack looking for car parts, and I see all these airplanes in there. I'm going, wow.
Yeah.
And then that was it.
There's the missing link.
Remember the old Easy series that they had? It was kind of like had the plastic clear on the outside. It was the best at the time. And anyway, I'd literally crash one every 1 to 2 weeks, and I go buy another one. But it's better than drugs in jail, right?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. My first model was you remember GWS?
Yeah.
A GWS E-Starter was what I started out with. That was my first airplane.
Yeah.
Wow.
I glued that thing back together with hot glue. I don't know how many times. I abused it.
Better each time too, probably.
It worked. The thing worked, and I abused it. I even had full-size servos in the thing just because that was what I had. But it flew. But before I totally destroyed
why
it.
did you start with Mode 4?
I was just getting ready to answer that question. Do you remember the old Cox Sanwa Cardinal 177 foam kit? It was like 1978, 1977.
I don't think I ever saw that.
Okay. Well, anyway, my dad bought me this for my birthday. I don't know. He probably sensed that I got bored with the cars and I had an airplane and I was trying. But anyway, I was only 14. I didn't know nothing. I mean, I'm telling you, I didn't know nothing. So the reason I started with Mode 4 is because it was only a 2-channel on the Cox Sanwa, which is Airtronics, basically, at the time. But the rudder was on the left, and then the elevator was on the right, because it was only 2-channel. There was no ailerons, but to turn it, it was on the left. And then I thought, that's how it's supposed to be. A matter of fact, if I'm not mistaken, I thought up was forward on the stick for the elevator. That's how dumb I was, okay? Not much has changed, but I have figured that you pull back to go up. Anyway, the learning process I went through so many planes and so many things, and I started going, well, I look at everybody else that's flying. They're flying their airplanes. How come my airplanes don't fly? So I said, there's a piece of paper that comes with a box. I think I better start reading it.
Yeah.
And then I got to the page where it said, I think it's in the back, right? CG. What is it?
It's always in the back.
What is this CG? So I literally read it. I was flying out of high school because I couldn't stand flying around people because, you know, the pressure when you don't know what you're doing. Oh, it just killed me. And I just gone, I hate being around people. So I do it at the school. But anyway, I read on the back on the paper, it says CG must be at this specific point on the wing. So I go over to my wing, you know how you put your fingers under it, right?
Yep.
Like that. And then my whole plane went back to the tail when I picked it up, right?
Of course.
So I'm going, well, that's it. So literally I went in my truck and I found a D battery, a D-sized battery. I zip tied it underneath the engine, right? I think it was the 0.25. So I zip tied it underneath the engine. Of course, I did 2 for safety. Crossed it, zip tied it, and then I measured it again. And the nose went forward over the CG. And I said, well, that must be it. I went down that little bit of a runway on the basketball court, and it just took right off. I was so excited about peeing my pants. I said, look, my airplane is flying. If I would have read that 39 airplanes prior, you know, when you're young and dumb, but my mom was the one that told me, she goes, son, I failed. I felt like Edison. I didn't even know who Edison was, but after I read Edison, all the failures of the light bulb, right? Fail.
Yeah.
The worst possible one that you could start off with, I built, I think it was, I don't know the name of the kit, but it was a BF 109. The absolute worst possible landing gear, worst possible moments, worst possible everything, right? Anyway, I go to take my mom and I go to take her for the first time to show her that I think I can fly. I'm at this field. I don't know anything about anything. I don't know anything about tuning my motor. I know nothing. All I know is I love it. I take my BF 109 and, you know, you got to work the rudder. You got to take off slow till you get enough airspeed. You got to get the tail. You know, I don't know none of this. I rammed the throttle. This guy just landed his airplane and I torpedoed his airplane with my BF 109. He was so PO'd. He comes over. He wanted to kill me. I'm apologizing. I said, I'll pay for it. I'm so sorry. I didn't mean. Anyway, that was my low point. And I was just getting ready to trash everything. I wasn't going to do it no more. I said, this 39th is the last one. My mom says, no, you never give up. The reason you don't give up is because if you give up, you'll never succeed, ever. And I remember telling me that. So I said, oh, you know how you're mad and you want to go kill something after you crash your airplane, right? The emotion on the inside. I don't care if you're a 50-year-old, 20-year-old, 16 or 100-year-old. That emotion of losing your airplane, that's like an extension of yourself.
Yeah.
If it wasn't for her, I wouldn't be flying today.
Okay.
So it's mom's. The mom made me. She goes, you don't quit.
Yeah.
You're not a quitter. I was a quitter. She just told me I couldn't. And without that, really, like mom or dad, you have nothing. But today, the kids are raised on a screen. They don't even know what a mom and dad is. Mom and dad are working. They're raised by a screen. But anyway, that was my upbringing. That was mode 4. That was why. That was how. So same thing, except I didn't go as long as you. I should say short as you. I was 40 airplanes in.
So I did have one other airplane, but I don't count that because I never really tried to fly it.
What's that?
But I built a Carl Goldberg Freedom 20.
Yes.
I was about 13, 14.
Yes.
I built that.
Yes.
I didn't have enough money. I had to pay for it myself. My dad helped me build it, but I had to buy everything for it. So that took me a while.
Because he wanted you to know the value of $1.
Well, it worked, let me tell you. But
how much did you pay for it?
Oh goodness, I have no idea. I really couldn't tell you. I know the GWS plane, the E-Starter. I paid $35 for it. I remember that. But the Freedom 20, I'm not sure. It was, like I said, I was like 13 or 14. That's too long ago. I couldn't tell you how much I paid for it.
Gotcha.
But I was taxiing up and down. We lived in a trailer park at the time. We had one long road down the middle of the trailer park. And I was taxiing up and down this road. I had done it several times. I didn't have the money to join a club because I'd already paid for the whole airplane, the radio, all that good stuff.
I get it. Money's tight.
Yeah, I was still saving money to join the club. Like $70 for me was a lot.
That's like 700.
So during this taxiing up and down the driveway, one time I got the plane off the ground, of course, by accident, and I ran smack into the back of my mom's van.
Oh God!
My mom had an old Dodge custom van. It was a short body custom van.
Yep.
That airplane wedged itself between the back tire and the fender. It was perfectly. The nose was stuck perfectly between the tire and the fender. The rest of the plane was off the ground from where it hit and just wedged in there. So I tore up my motor, the prop, obviously, but from the firewall back was okay.
Yeah.
Oh,
Hey, look, let me give a shout out to all our guys hanging out in here with us tonight. We got a pretty good crowd. We like to give a little recognition to them for being here tonight and supporting everybody and being here with our guest, Jason Knight. Let's see. We have got in here tonight. We got Mike Bird, Legend Hobby, of course, in the house. Flyer Mikey. Welcome to a lot of you guys that are new. If you have not subscribed to the channel, Jeff's Custom RC, definitely check it out. Subscribe to Legend Hobby while you're out there subscribing. Please like us on Facebook. Big Sky Hobby's Corner in here tonight with us. We've got Ken Wade. He's the luckiest man around. We have Clay Ricks, Phil Camp. What's up, Phil? How are you, man? We've got your sister here tonight. We've got Mr. Craig Beeben. We've got Matt Syback here with us tonight. Jeff in Lower Alabama, or LA Jeff, as I like to call him. John Holligan, good to have you here tonight, man. Johnny Stansel. Let's see, going down the list here, we've got Randy Larson. What's up, Randy? He was on here last week. We had a great time.
John, we got John.
Yeah,
Holligan.
we got John Holligan. We got Lyndon Stewart,
Mr. Thailand,
all the way from Guyana. Good to have you here tonight, man. Let's see. We've got Jared Kirby. Glad to see you here tonight, Jared. Hope you're doing well, man, with everything up in the mountains you've been dealing with.
That's bad.
But yeah, we're glad to have you here. And of course, Mr. Tim Touton, as always, slinging around the sunshine tonight. Mr. Paul McNeil here tonight with us. Let's see who else. We got Hangar 51. Hey, Kenny, what's up, buddy?
Kenny, turn the bus off and stay a while.
Philip Cockrum, good to have you here tonight, man. Of course, we got Mom in the house. Always glad to have her here, asking for the thumbs up, guys. Show the love with a thumbs up. Lips RC is here tonight. Jeff Nichols, he's all the way from, I believe, Australia, I think.
Australia.
England, somewhere over in there.
England, Australia, they close?
I can't remember. I used to watch his stuff a lot when he was doing a lot of YouTube stuff. Let's see who else is in here tonight. I don't want to miss anybody because we appreciate all you guys for the support as always. Just as important to the channel, having all you guys here every week. Mr. Michael Rajka throwing around some funny jokes tonight, saying, "Hey, we're supposed to hear from Jason, not Wayne." He gets carried away sometime, Mike. Let's see who else.
My apologies.
Craig Beeben, good to see you here, Craig.
Me.
Let's see. CBO Hobos here tonight with us. Brian Christensen RC. And any of you guys, like I said, if you're new here tonight, please subscribe to the channel. I'm always glad to have you here. And we've always got good entertainment here. So we try to do for you guys every week. So with that, let's talk about your next airplane that we want to get up in here because we know it's super nice as well. Tell us where you are here. Tell us what's going on here, man.
Oh, that's obviously Phoenix Airfield. That's at McMurdo Station in Antarctica.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm guessing it was warm there that day.
Oh, yeah. Where we park my airplane there, it's usually around, it goes between 20 and negative 20 pretty commonly. Oh,
man. God, so is that where you were stationed?
No, I actually work for the three-letter agency that nobody around here likes. And that's one of the things that we do. We go there and certify all their navigational aids every year.
Okay. All right. Good deal. Well, like I said, man, I don't like cold and it looks mighty cold. So
it's very cold. Yes.
Yeah, I couldn't do it. So tell us about this beauty right here, man. This is a beautiful airplane itself, man.
It is. It's a great airplane. Like you said, it's beautiful. And I can take no credit for it because I bought it built. Internally, I did some modifications and I rewired it and changed servos, that kind of thing. But the airframe was built when I got it. But it is a Tony Nigis. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. The Avro Vulcan. It's the 98-inch version, 98-inch wingspan.
What's that going to weigh?
They say it weighs around 30 pounds, 35 pounds, I think, which is about right. I've weighed it, but it's been a while. It's built pretty standard, though, to the plans, so it should be around there.
What's it made of?
That is a built-up model. It is balsa and plywood.
Wow. Okay. And is it turbine?
It is. It's got a Jet Cat 120 in it at the moment.
Oh, man.
The single turbine, the thrust line is through the tail cone.
Wow.
Is it going to have the howl?
That is the one thing it really doesn't do is the howl.
Oh, man, you got to get a giant speaker on there and get the howl.
I just have fun.
I just watched a video on one of those. I think it was this morning. And man, that howl is the weirdest thing. It's just how it
so
sucks
cool.
that air in. And it just makes that weird howl.
It reminds me of Airwolf, but it's an airplane.
Yeah, that's exactly right. I met that dude. What's that guy's name in the Airwolf thing? Jansen?
Oh yeah. They call him Hawk,
Jansen.
Stringfellow Hawk in the show, but
yeah, but his real name.
is it
Anyway,
John Michael?
Jan Michael Vincent. Is that
There you
him?
go.
Is that
Something
his name?
like that.
Jan Michael Vincent. Yeah, I met him. I think that was towards his end of his life because he looked like he was hungover and stressed out and just he had his bodyguard there. And I ain't getting close to that guy. That guy was massive. I said, I'll just leave Jan Michael Vincent alone over there. I think that's the reason why he had him.
There's a question for you. Jeff Nichols has got a question for you there. Does anyone know that a Vulcan electronically bombed the U.S. without being intercepted?
Really?
Didn't
Why would
know
they
that.
bomb the U.S.?
I don't know.
Not
Is
me.
that the
Or
question?
is that us?
Was that us? Bomb the us or the U.S.? Well, it's small, so it's. I do not know. I don't understand.
Killer Planes is here, Mr. Steve. How are you, buddy? You know, we like to see the wife in here, man, because you know we love the Miss Denise. You know,
That's right. It's been a while.
it's been a while. It's been a minute. Yeah.
I do have a question on your Maiden on your B-52.
Okay.
How tight was everything before your takeoff? I mean, were you just beyond out of your mind about what could possibly go wrong?
Honestly, it wasn't that bad.
Really?
The reason for that, though, is because I had triple, quadruple checked everything before I ever took it to the field. So, yeah, I was nervous, but it wasn't like, and I'll use an example, I have a 120 millimeter EDF that's a sport jet. It's called an Interceptor. It's an old sport jet. I had a 120 millimeter electric fan in it. I was shaking when I flew that thing the first time. The B-52, I wasn't shaking.
Huh.
Now, I will say during the first flight, I had some ESC issues and all 8 motors shut down.
What?
Wow.
About 2.5 or 3 minutes into the first flight. Yeah, all eight shut down.
Did your heart stop?
So again, like I said, I've built several B-52s at this point. I built a couple at least. And I knew that it would glide to some extent. So yes, it wasn't good. It wasn't a good feeling, but I also knew I had a little bit of time to figure out what to do. And immediately when it shut down, I had a plan. Clay Ricks, it's listening right now, was standing right next to me when it happened. And he asked me, was I going to turn around and land? And I knew that the airport we were flying at, I had more than enough runway to just keep going in the direction I was, which was downwind. But I had 1,500 feet or so of runway in that direction.
Oh, wow.
So if you ever see that video, there's a video of it out there when it happened. And you can hear me tell him, no, I'm just going to keep going. But I had already decided that before he even asked. It was, I don't know. It's, if you plan for contingencies and, you know, have them in the back of your head in the first place, it's a little bit less nerve wracking when they happen.
Did you find out why they shut down?
Yeah, just overheating.
Okay.
And they're mounted on the bottom of the wing at the wing root, which I thought would get enough airflow. But the ESCs that I had, they just couldn't handle it.
Well, you had to up the amperage?
I got a different brand of ESC. I upped the amperage and then I added the cooling fans.
Oh, really?
And I haven't had
All
a problem.
of them have cooling fans on them?
All 8. Yep.
Wow. That's impressive. Have you had any close calls that were out of the blue and just like, ugh.
So, well, I wouldn't call it out of the blue. I've had really only one thing that kind of scared me with that airplane, and it was totally my fault. Again, I kind of expected it because it was my fault, but I overflew my timer. I was at Jets Over Kentucky. I flew formation with a CARF B2. It looked great. We got some good pictures. I was having fun. And because of that, I said, you know what? I can stretch it just a little bit longer and get a couple more pictures, because when am I going to have this chance again? And we did a low pass. I was in the lead. The B2 was right behind me and just above. And at the end of that low pass, I added some power to go around, and I had nothing there.
Oh.
So I had a belly land. Yeah, there's a picture right there, or one of the pictures from that event. But so I belly landed right next to the runway. And that, while I knew whatever it was, I could fix the airplane, I was nervous just because I didn't know how much damage it was going to have.
Right.
So, but when I got the airplane back, and again, Matt Syback and Clay Ricks were with me there, and they helped me recover the aircraft. Matter of fact, Clay did most of the work recovering the aircraft. But as soon as I saw it, when we got it back over to the pits, I knew I could fix it in 1 or 2 weeks if I just sat down and worked on it. And that's including the paint, which I hate painting, but yeah.
So you were just in the moment. You were having so much fun. Time didn't exist. Oh, yeah, I can do one more go around, right? Oh, this is going to be great. And then your mind, and then all of a sudden your heart just stops because there's nothing on the other end of the throttle.
Right. Yeah.
I've been there, done that. I've done that on a maiden flight. Man, I hated myself. Matter of fact, you were there.
Yeah.
That was the P-51. Everything, I'm all excited and everything, and I go for I don't ever use a Dean's connector.
Oh.
For a high power source. I learned that the hard way. I mean,
Yeah.
for radio stuff's okay, but for power connect, no.
Yeah.
Just melted. Everything was just
Yeah.
I understand.
Learned the hard way.
And he had a butt clincher with the L19 too. I mean,
which one was that? I mean,
the L19, the one you were trying, that was standing all up and you were all over the place with it, and you walked it all the way down the runway and then you sat it down at the end.
Oh,
yeah.
Yeah, I remember that.
That was, I thought, you know, he'd been flying it for a few minutes and he comes down the runway, slow pass, and he gets ready to pull back up. And all of a sudden, you know, he stands it up and I'm thinking, well, is he going to
overcompensate?
Is he going to 3D with the L19? And next thing I know, I hear him, he's going,
I couldn't say anything because I was comatose because I was going to lose the airplane if I didn't act. And they're talking, you know, and you got to block all that out when you only got a millisecond before destruction. Overcompensated. He's got a picture.
One of the wings touched. Hat didn't roll.
It's literally, the wing is literally vertical and the wing is dragging on the ground. I got dirt in my lights on the wingtips.
Yeah.
And I saved it at the end of the runway. And I have no idea how. It was just overcompensate. And he's going, what are you doing?
I thought he was trying to 3D with it or
3D?
something.
I can barely 2D.
I'm like, what are you doing, man?
Anyway, we got it back and I fixed it. What the problem was, I was light on my CG.
Yeah.
I have no idea why, because I've got 10 flights on the airplane, never had a problem, and nothing's moved back. The batteries are all secure.
Right.
I don't know. Maybe I flew it more with less fuel in it now. Maybe I had a less fuel. You know what I mean?
Possible. Yeah.
So anyway, I got it all back. I rechecked it all. I threw a whole bunch of lead weight in the nose. So I don't have that problem because I needed a new pair of shorts after that.
Yeah. Everybody did.
Oh, dude, it was just, I couldn't believe I saved it.
Yeah. I couldn't.
That's what they say, nose heavy flies bad, tail heavy flies once.
Once. Yeah, exactly.
And then I must be the miracle child.
I'm telling you. And then he had another plane one day that the aileron on his
stuck on the up position on the left wing. And that was my T-51.
Yeah, that was a Striga, right?
So that was a Striga, the Tower Hobby Striga, the 30cc. So I did one circuit or something, 2 circuits, and then all of a sudden the airplane on the left aileron stuck up. So now the wing's just naturally going like this. So I'm fighting it. I'm going, what's wrong? I couldn't see it because it was going away. So now I'm trying to find a neutral point because I didn't know what was wrong, but I'm just trying to get it to a neutral point and kind of nurse it back around.
Yep.
And then I could see that one deflected aileron sticking up as it's coming because it reflected off the sun. I go, what? My left aileron stuck up. Oh, no. And anyway, I'm trying to land as soon as possible, which is a downwind. I only got, probably 400 feet left. Downwind. I'm coming in too fast. So I said, it ain't going to work. So I'm just nudging on the throttle, just praying that I don't, get the P factor in there and just and I nudged it up so I get a little bit more altitude, and I'm nudging it around, boy, and everybody's just puckered up.
Everybody's puckered.
And then somehow it came back to the runway and it landed. I have no idea. But the aileron was all the way up when I landed.
Yeah.
I have no idea.
I've got similar story. I got a similar story with that Vulcan that we were talking about. One of my, it's got 4 elevons, 2 inboard, 2 outboard.
Right.
One of the outboard got stuck during one of my flights.
Ooh.
And that was 2 years ago at JOK. I believe it was a right outboard elevons got stuck. It wasn't full deflection, but it wasn't a center either. And I felt the plane flying funny. It just wasn't quite right.
Yeah.
And
so you're
especially
fighting it, you're trying to find a neutral zone. You let go of the sticks and it wouldn't. So now you're trying to hold it.
It was really disjointed. It was still flyable. I just didn't know what was wrong with it. But when I landed and taxied back over to myself, said something's not right. Sure enough, that aileron was stuck. And
Was it a failed servo or something?
Yeah.
Now it was a failed servo. So the pot got stuck somewhere somehow. Yeah, because I changed everything out too. I changed the servo out. I changed the leads. I changed everything.
Yeah.
Wow.
Nothing I can do any more than that. So I still haven't flown it since then. So.
Oh wow.
But it's scary. It scares the heck out of you.
Oh yeah.
But I think that's why we do it, because if you're not excited and scared at the same time, you're not enjoying the hobby.
I'll say that. It's exciting. A lot of things are exciting. I get fussed at for doing some of the passes you saw at the B-52, the low passes and the knife edge.
Yeah.
My friends yell at me every time I do that, but they're fun. I like it.
I know that. And I could tell that you were enjoying yourself, because I watched you come in and you swooped it to the side, and I knew what you were going to do, and you were going to bring it all up on the other side. And I said, here it comes. And you had that wing almost vertical. I loved it. I said, look, this guy is digging on his B-52, and he's showing us how much, because you're showing all your confidence that you have in your plane.
It flies great, man.
That's what I'm saying. And you know it. And the way you flew it was awesome, because I'm going, I've never seen that.
Right.
I've never seen the B-52 do a knife. It looked like a knife.
Oh, it
edge
did,
to me.
man. It just like,
I'm going, whoa, that's awesome. And I heard some guys going, you shouldn't be doing that in the background while you were flying. I said, it's his plane. He can do what he wants.
Right. And I can fly at scale. Sometimes I do, but sometimes I just want to have fun.
Yeah.
I like that idea. You're my kind of guy. That's exactly right. Because if you get too bored with your airplane, right? If you get too passive, you always want to try something different, right?
And
that's when you get you're all worked up. It was awesome. I couldn't believe you did it. Honestly, that's the first time I've ever seen anybody do that.
Yeah, it was a great flight.
It was awesome.
I tried to make sure that I wouldn't get tired of this airplane. It's got a lot of things that I can do with it.
Well, I can help you with next year when you bring it back to Texas next year. If you would hover it for us, that would be awesome. But you probably need 8 120 millimeter fans to do that.
Probably, yeah.
And about 25 batteries.
And a lot of servos for the 3D mechanism. For the thrust vector.
Crazy.
That's so
tell us about this picture right here we're looking at now.
Yeah, that's awesome.
That was the photographer's idea. We've got he's a friend of ours. His name is Dusty, that comes out and takes pictures when we have fly-ins. He's a real good friend of ours. He lives down near Wichita Falls, I believe, Texas, but he comes and takes a lot of pictures for us. He's a great photographer. That was entirely his idea. He'd seen pictures of a B-52 when they do like a squadron photo.
Yeah.
They put the entire squadron on top of the wing. And he wanted to try that. So that's how it turned out, like you said.
That's a good one to frame and hang on the wall right there.
I like it.
Definitely.
Yep.
So have you got a new project you're working on?
I've always got projects I'm working on.
Top secret?
Kind of. It's related to the B-52, and it's another giant scale airplane. But instead of 14.5 foot wingspan, it's only going to be 10, which sounds like nothing after doing that. So
wow.
The Vulcan. The reason I bought the Vulcan is because it's the same scale as the B-52.
Oh, really?
It's like within 1 or 1.5% of the same scale as the B-52.
Wow. That's
That
cool.
was the reason I bought the Vulcan.
Okay.
So the next aircraft that I'm working on actually is the same scale, but I'm thinking about a KC-135.
Ooh.
And
Yeah, because those flew out of Norton over there in Riverside, out in LA, all the time.
oh, they were all over the place.
Yeah, I drive by them all the time. Man, those things are massive.
So it's if I do that, I'm drawing it in CAD right now, slowly, just because I'm slow in CAD. But if I get around to getting that one completed, it'll have a few scale details on it as well. And I'm actually thinking about making it turbine powered.
Wow.
So that would be the 2 inboard motors, and I've already got 2 K70s that are sitting around here in the shop. One of them's in the plane. Pick it out.
It's amazing to see these guys that are starting to build these big 3D printed planes now, you know, and actually building them in components and then gluing them all together and building a massive airplane out of 3D printed parts and then putting all the electronics and everything in it, man.
So what I want to do on the KC-135 is actually 3D print a mold and make a completely composite fuselage.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, because isn't that what Rami does?
Yeah, that's
Rami,
what,
Rami RC, he does that 3D prints and then he makes his own molds, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And I've experimented with it a little bit. So some of the things that I haven't told you guys about yet, the nose and the tail and the engine nacelles on the B-52 are all 3D printed.
Really?
Oh, okay.
The entire nose, the entire tail section aft of the elevators, after the hinge of the elevators anyway, is all 3D printed.
Wow.
And the engine nacelles, like I said, they're 3D printed. They're made out of
3D printer, but I can turn it on. That's about all I can do with a 3D printer. I can't do
the
nothing.
nacelles are one of the things that took me a long time on this airplane. It took me a year to design the nacelles in a manner that I was happy with.
Gosh. And why is that particularly?
Because I was learning how to use a CAD program at the same time.
Wow. Okay. So you're learning while you're learning.
Correct.
That's a slow process.
I don't recommend it. It turned out okay in the end, but I don't recommend it.
No, because you need a lot of ibuprofen and aspirins.
Now I can do the same thing in, I don't know, a month and a half of just working on it in the evenings.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if you look at what Ramey's doing with like Tyler Perry's plane and I mean, that guy's he's a machine, man. He's just amazing with what he can do with a printer, some carbon, some fiberglass. I mean,
big funding.
Yeah, he just came out with another plane, I think. What was it this week on YouTube?
Yeah, I've seen it.
And
I forgot the name of it.
Yeah, and I mean, the Honda jet he's done. I mean, his stuff is just amazing. And then the way he vinyl wraps everything just really brings it to life. You know, it's the vinyl is so much better than the paint, I think, especially on these planes. You know,
because you can do anything. Everything's pre-printed.
Yeah,
stick it on there.
Yeah, and it's all shrink wrapped and
that's got to be. We got to have deep pockets to do that.
Well, I was about to say, you mentioned funding a second ago, and man, I would build some amazing models if I could sit at home and just do that.
Can you imagine what you could do with unlimited time and unlimited money?
I know it. Yes.
Yeah.
I don't even know what that is, man. I crashed a $200 airplane. I'm crying.
Yeah. Well, that's like, there's a guy, his name's Chris, and his YouTube handle is RC Demon Driver. And
I've seen his. It's good.
He's been on the show probably a couple of years ago. And I mean, he builds a lot of big jetliners like the Emirates planes and things like that. And the one he was building, the last he and I talked, was going to be all inside. He was going to show every class inside, and Emirates was going to commission to buy it from him. But it was going to all be 3D printed with the first class, the luxury class, and everything, where you could actually look in the plane and see everything going on in there. I mean, he's an amazing builder too. And I think he taught Ramey a lot of his stuff. And then Ramey took his stuff and ran with it. But Chris is an awesome builder too, but he does a lot of stuff with foam too, Yeah. I mean, he's an amazing guy, what he can do, and just so humble. The night we had him on the show here, he was just a super nice guy and very happy just to be a part of the show and talk about what he did and everything. But I think he ended up having a kid, so life's kind of slowed him down a little bit. But he's an amazing builder too. But if you've got the time, like I say, it's time, man. you know?
Yeah.
I mean, and that's what, if you're trying to work a full-time job or have a business like I do, and it's just building these models like the T-28 we've got in here and these other planes, it's hard to get everything done with the time you have, you know?
Man, I understand wholeheartedly. I've got a 6-year-old. I travel for work. Time is at a premium.
It is, man. And when you get, if you're like me, when you get into a project and you get your mindset into it, you can immerse yourself for hours. And then if you get off of it, you lose your train of thought. You lose your progression.
Momentum.
Yeah, you lose what you're working on, you know?
I'll tell anybody, I do some of my best work at 2:00 in the morning.
Oh, I bet. Yeah, I bet.
I have some of the best ideas.
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
Everybody's sleeping. Nobody's calling. You're just there, and doesn't matter. I'm working this on your focus. I think that's what it is. Right?
Yeah.
Nobody's bothering you. You grab a drink. You grab some chocolate cake and a pie. And you sit there, and I'll put that.
Then you're all
servo in
jacked
that
up,
way.
so you can do anything you want to.
It's nice.
So where exactly are you living now?
I live just south of Oklahoma City.
Okay. All right. So do you are you going to go to Balmer Field next year as well?
I'd like to, possibly, yeah.
Okay.
The only reason I can't commit right now is I have to look into my work schedule.
I got you. And what do you
I
do
would
by
definitely
day?
love to. I'm an aircraft mechanic. I'm an A&P mechanic.
Okay, so that's what you do. Okay, all right. So yeah, all right.
Yeah.
Well, I tell you, man, it's just seeing your plane, and I hope to be there next year. So I'd love to be able to see it in person myself. Couldn't make it this year, so he went out and had a good time and ate pizza and everything. How long were you there this year?
I got there Thursday morning, to the field Thursday morning.
Okay, it's about, you got there Thursday afternoon.
I got there Thursday night.
Thursday night.
I got to the hotel at 12:30 in the morning.
Okay, all right. So did you enjoy some of that good pizza?
Oh yeah, the pizza was awesome. Yeah.
It looked good. I thought he was going to smuggle me back a piece, but he didn't.
Yeah, I brought him a doormat.
Yeah, I got
Instead.
a doormat. I'm just everybody's doormat these days.
So my family, I'm actually from Houston. That's where I grew up.
Okay.
So
Really?
it was kind of a dual purpose trip for me. I got to visit with my family, and they actually all came out to the field. That was the first time they got to see me fly anything substantial since I was flying, park flyers.
Wow.
And
Wow.
crashing them every 7 flights or so.
That's cool.
So that was a lot of fun. Yeah, I had aunts, my dad, my mom, and a couple of my cousins all came out.
Okay. Yeah, it's always nice when you got an audience, but it also it draws up the pucker factor a little bit more too, because you got to put on a show,
I just went and flew and had fun, man.
Yeah, and that's the thing. That's why we go to fly-ins. We have fly-ins here, and I don't even like to fly because you got so many people watching. It's like the pressure's on,
So I've told a lot of people this, but I'm going to fly my airplanes whether or not anybody likes them. I fly because I like it.
Yeah.
I'm happy that other people like the aircraft that I build, that I fly. I'm happy. Sure. That's awesome. But I was going to build it and fly it either way just because I wanted it.
But you only got one of the best looking ones out there too. So that doesn't hurt a thing. You know what I mean?
Again, I was going to build it either way.
Yeah, I got it. That's nice, man. It's a beautiful plane, and the videos we saw of it were just incredible. So, but anyway, so we're getting down to the end of the show, man. We've kept you for a while, and we're gonna let you get out of here and get back to your family, and we're gonna get out of here quickly too. We got to get out of here, and he's got stuff to do. I got stuff to do. But we so appreciate you being here and talking about your plane. And once you get started on your other project, man, we'd love to have you back and look at that too and see some of your design work and everything.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it very much. And absolutely. Yeah.
Well, like I say, we're just humbled to have you here, and everybody loves this plane. And we just had to get you on here to talk about it because it's been the talk, man. I think one of the videos on this plane's had over 1 million views, something like that. I know it's way up there. I know that. So
it's funny
you might could say you've been viral. I don't know,
There's at least 6 videos on YouTube, and I didn't put any of them up.
I know. That's what I'm saying, and they're doing well. People love seeing it. So that's
you got to copyright your B-52 so you can get royalties.
All right. Kenny asked, what's the wingspan on the B-52?
It's 174 inches or 14 and a half feet.
It's taller than you, Kenny.
Yeah, way taller, like 3 times taller.
Yeah. So, all right. Well, look, Jason, we're going to let you get out of here, man. And like I said, thank you so much for being here and talking about this beautiful plane. And we'd love to see more videos of it and more of your designs and things like that. So with that, man, we're going to let you get back to your family. And we just appreciate you, buddy.
Thanks for having me. It was fun.
Sir. All right, man. You have a great night.
You too.
See ya. Bye.
Bye.
All right, guys. Well, there you have it, man. Another episode in the books, and great airplane. Got to show you some good stuff tonight and talk to the man himself that built it, flew it. And the videos we've been showing here the past couple of weeks with the airplane, and everybody just loved it. I mean, you know,
It's awesome.
it's an amazing airplane.
You don't see one of those every day.
No,
And especially being flown like he flies it.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a
Somebody
double
said
whammy.
a B-36 would be cool as well.
Yeah, that's a big airplane.
Yeah, we got to get that Black Widow of yours. That's a big.
I was thinking about that.
That's a big airplane too, man.
Yeah.
And you don't see those every day either, you know?
No, you know what it is? In the air, it looks exactly like an OV-10.
Yeah.
Because it's got the pod in the middle,
Yeah,
and then you
yeah.
got the booms, and it's got the
Yeah.
But it's the Ziroli P61.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, so a couple of twin 70s on there with
Mhm.
maybe a 2015 props. Keep me up with that kid with the P51.
Absolutely. Yeah.
The kid was good. They had the P51 that was blue with there. Man, he was
yeah.
just immaculate on his flying. Just low, just fast, just doing 8, or was it 16 point or 8 point rolls?
Oh,
Literally
yeah,
tut,
yeah,
tut,
tut,
tut, tut, tut, tut.
Mm-hmm.
I could barely do a roll, let alone an 8 point.
Yeah.
Anyway, he was excellent. It was awesome. Everybody there was really fun to watch because they had confidence in their flying
Oh, yeah.
and they were enjoying what they're doing. Plus, everybody gets a show.
That's right.
So they get something out of it. We get something out of it. Everybody wins.
That's right. Well,
Just don't
a
forget
great-
Thomas.
it's
Without
a-
Thomas, we wouldn't have any.
Yeah,
of this.
exactly. Yeah. And Legend Hobby is just everything for us, man. And we appreciate
That's
them so much and all the support that Thomas gives us, not only on the show, but at our flying events, us personally, and just a great friend, great customer service. You won't find a better company to deal with, guys. I can tell you, if you've got something you want or you need, you definitely need to check out Legend Hobby and click that button and get your winter projects, guys, because it's going to be cold before you know it. And everybody's going to be inside and you'll wish you had something and everything's gone or
And
sold
they're working
out.
on a big OV10 too, right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Wasn't it like a 60 to 80 cc?
Yeah,
on
it's
each
going to
side?
be big,
That's
man.
massive.
Yeah, it's huge. Yeah.
Huge.
Yeah. And so, yeah, get your projects, guys, because it's going to be cold and you'll be trapped inside and can't do anything. So, but we will see you guys next week right here, same time. And I think we're going to have somebody else on next week too.
Do we?
Yeah, but we'll hold that for a secret. Let them know
Female?
what's up. Nah, sorry. Sorry to disappoint you there, Wayne. But anyway, guys, you guys have a great one. Check out I'll Fly's video if you want to see the plane we were just talking about with Mr. Jason Hill on here, guys. It's beautiful. The video is great. It's a 51-minute video. No talking, just great flying at Balmer Field. And I think I've watched it several times, so it's a great video. And check that out and enjoy that. Sit back and have you a cool one and enjoy some flights. And with that, we will see you guys next week, same time right here. And you be safe, get some great flights in, take care, and thanks for joining us. See you.